Hey everyone, Rock DIY here. I do these product reviews in the hopes that my experience with them in giving an overview will help somebody decide whether they want to purchase something or not. I'm in no way an expert, but I do hope that by giving an overview, doing a demonstration, will help somebody decide whether they want this or not, or they want to go to another product. Once again, I am going to do a product review, and in this case, this is a portable ice maker. I personally haven't had to deal with a portable ice maker myself. I either get ice from my freezer or I buy ice at the store. The nice thing about this is that you can purchase this and produce ice in a pretty quick manner. So I'm just going to give an overview of all the functions, the buttons, and then the inside, and then also I will do a demonstration and also determine whether this ice maker actually lives up to what it says it can do in the manual. And in this case, this is an Insignia model, and if you don't know, Insignia is a brand of Best Buy. This specific model is a NSIMP26SLO. There are multiple models with different numbers. The number I just gave is the number specifically for this one. First things first, when you get this, you want to remove it from the box, and then you also want to remove any tape or styrofoam materials that may be contained, and you carefully want to look to ensure that all the tape is removed. There's a lot of tape on this, so you do want to remove all of the tape that is on this. When you purchase this ice maker, when it comes time to remove the tape, it may not be in every case, but there will be a piece of tape holding this side of this basket. There will be another piece of tape over here, and then there will be a piece of tape holding the scoop in. This is the scoop, and then, as mentioned, this is the basket. And then there will also be one other piece of tape that's going to be back here, and you want to be careful removing that piece because it holds on to a little gate that's in the back, and if you pull it too hard, you may yank that piece off. So just be careful when you remove that piece of tape that's back in here. So the items that you're going to get when you, if and when you purchase this ice maker is, one, you get the ice maker, you'll get the basket, you'll get the scoop, and you will get this quick start guide. Those are the only things that you will get with this ice maker. So unlike in the past, if you needed a lot of ice, you would have to go purchase bags of ice, or go to a hotel and use a hotel's ice maker, because there really wasn't a small ice maker that you could purchase other than the ice maker that would be in your freezer, which never produces enough ice. You're lucky if you get 1 or 2 ice trays a day of ice using a regular ice maker. In this case, this ice maker will produce up to 26 pounds of ice each day. It stores up to 1.5 pounds of ice, and it will produce ice every 6 to 13 minutes. And when I get through with this overview, I'm going to test that to see how long it actually takes to produce ice. Right here are the only buttons and lights on the ice maker, which makes it very simple. Right here where it says ice full, pretty self-explanatory. It basically lights up when the basket is full of ice. You got the add water indicator, basically when you need to add water. You got the on off button, and then you've got the power light that turns on when the ice maker is turned on. You've got the select button, and the select button works in conjunction with these two right here. So if you select, you either get small ice cubes or you get large ice cubes, and that is pretty much it. There's no other functions. Here are all of the components of the ice maker. As I already mentioned, you got your buttons and lights here. you've got the cover, which is lifted to remove ice. Inside, underneath the lid, there's a little gate back here, and that is an ice scoop. It basically moves ice into the ice basket, and this is the ice basket. So when this is in here, the scoop back here would push the ice into this basket right here. There's a sensor right here that when the ice gets too full, this sensor will pick up that the ice maker is too full, and it will basically shut the ice maker off. You got the ice basket, as I mentioned, which holds the ice. On the right hand side, you've got the ventilation opening for the ice maker. You want to make sure that the area around this is clear. You don't want it blocked in any way. On the very bottom front, you can see it from the inside too, but right here on the very bottom, right here, is a plug, and it just pushes in and pushes out to drain water out of it. If you need to drain it, that is where the drain plug is. And then this is your ice shovel that you can use to scoop ice out of the ice basket. There really isn't too much more to this. Just be aware that this ice maker does use refrigerant. You want to be careful handling it, and also if you decide to dispose of it, you want to be careful because of the refrigerant. Something really important right from the get-go is after you remove the tape and you know you're getting ready to use it, you want to make sure that you clean this as much as possible. And you don't want to use any chemicals, don't use any bleach. You can use soapy water, but you got to be careful because you do have to rinse it. You do want to make sure that it is pretty clean, because not cleaning it is going to result in your ice either tasting like plastic or it's just going to taste nasty. And also, when you want to do about 2 or 3 runs of ice through it before you actually consume any ice or use any ice, because the ice is going to have a very plastic-like taste, and it's just not going to taste very good. So if you know you're going to be using it, plan ahead to get ready to use it, and then when you get ready to use it, it'll actually be ready to go. And obviously, if you know you're going to have a need for ice, you definitely want to do some backwards planning to ensure that, you know, if it takes 6 to 13 minutes to make a full thing of ice, then you want to plan for that, and not just, you know, it's an hour before showtime and I want to produce ice, and you're not going to produce enough because you didn't backwards plan enough. So just make sure you backwards plan to ensure that you have enough time to make enough ice. This will definitely be a whole lot quicker than any ice that you can produce with a regular freezer in a refrigerator. Wherever you decide to put this ice maker, don't put it anywhere where there may be a draft of heat from like a refrigerator or a microwave. You want to put this somewhere where there's not going to be any heat produced around it, because for as small as this is, the cold temperature of this is going to be competing with the outside warm temperature. So you don't want this getting too hot on the outside, because one of the things that'll happen is, regardless, the ice will melt, but if you've got a lot of heat to the outside of it, the ice is going to melt sooner, and then also the ice will melt to the other ice, and then you end up with a block of ice. So take that into account when you decide to put this where you decide to put it. It's a good idea that as the ice is produced, that you may want to purchase some freezer bags in advance, or have a container to put the ice in, because this is going to get to a point where it's going to have too much ice in it and it's going to stop producing. So what you do want to do is take the ice that's being produced, put it in a bag, and put it in your regular freezer, and then it'll stay frozen. If you leave ice in here over time, that ice is going to melt anyway. And the nice feature about this ice maker is that as the ice melts, the ice that melts, the water is being run back through the system to produce ice again, which is a good thing. So it's basically cyclic. It'll produce ice, the ice can melt, it goes back through and produces ice again. All right, I've got everything cleaned up. I'm ready to start producing some ice. And you know, I've cleaned everything up, but for some reason, no matter what, it seems like I keep getting little pieces of junk stuck to the inside. I mean, I'd like for it to be as clean as possible, but I guess I would have to be in a lab in order to ensure nothing gets in it. But yeah, I clean this and stuff just I don't know if it's static electricity or if it's just stuff that's floating around in the air that keeps going inside of it. But anyways, I am ready to run a test. And the whole point behind this is to see how fast it actually produces ice. So this will be a first run. I am not going to consume this ice. This will be one of several runs that I will do and dispose of the ice. One thing that I do recommend is that if you want good ice that doesn't have any kind of weird taste to it, is use bottled water, spring water, distilled water, whichever, rather than using tap water, because some tap water has a very chlorine-like taste to it or some other taste to it. So you may want to use some other kind of filtered water. You can put a little bit of water, or you can put up to the max level here of water in here. Just keep in mind that if you don't fill it all the way to max, then it's going to stop producing ice sooner. If you fill it up to the max level with water, then you will get more ice cubes than you would not filling it completely. I've got my cup of water. It actually does hold quite a bit of water. This is a pretty big cup, and I can probably put another cup and a half in there. Before you start this process, you definitely want to check to ensure that the plug on the bottom right front of the ice maker is in and sealed properly, because the last thing you want to find out is that all your water is draining out the bottom of the ice maker. Something to know is you can see here I've got the water all the way up to the max mark. When you put the basket in, the basket sits right at the top of that max level. So as the ice is being produced, the water will go down, the water will go up inside, and then ice will be produced. I am not aware of a sensor on this basket. There could be something right here that works in conjunction with this to say whether the basket is there or not, but somehow, well, not somehow, I pretty much doubt that. So you do need to be aware of making sure that you put this basket in, because if you don't put this basket in and it's making ice, what's going to happen is the ice is going to be produced. When it's done and it's made, this little scoop is going to come forward and push the ice into the remaining water that's in here because there's no basket. So make sure you put your basket in so that the ice actually goes into this basket. This is test run 1, and I've got the water level to the max line. I am putting the basket in, closing the lid. I'm going to turn it on so that we have power, and right now you can see the basket on the inside is coming forward, and this little scoop right here is up. And what's going on now is the water that's down inside is being pulled up, and basically there is a basket that rotates around, and then water goes inside the basket to produce the ice. All right, so I kind of messed up right from the get-go, but I've got a timer on it to see how long it takes to produce ice. And one of the things in the manual, it does say that when it actually drops the ice, it's pretty loud, but it's an ice maker, so you should expect that it's going to make some noise when it's producing some ice. I am not going to video record this entire thing. I'm going to leave the clock running to determine how long it takes, but I'm not going to record it. I'm not going to sit here and watch it or film the timer. I'll check it when I hear the ice drop. The last batch of ice was produced at 6 minutes 48 seconds. So now let's see what happens when this batch gets produced. It sounds like it's getting ready to do something, but it is past 6:48. All right, here we go. The tray is going to the rear, and what's happening is the water that's not frozen drains out, and then the ice cubes fall. And when they fall off these little prongs in here, they break up a little bit. So there you can see, and these are considered large ice cubes. So it looks like those rods in there just get really, really cold, and then freeze the water as it sits in there, and it gets to about, I don't know, it's about 1/8 of an inch thick. These cubes are a little bit bigger than the last ones, but yeah, that little tray comes around, fills with water. Those little prongs go into the water, and those are what are producing the cold temperature that makes the ice cubes. And then once the time is up, the tray falls away, dumping out the excess water, leaving just the ice cubes stuck to the metal prongs, and then the ice falls off the prongs, and then this little gate right here sweeps it into the tray right here. Yeah, I'm not sure why, but the first ice cubes were pretty small. These are a little bit bigger, but you can see where the ice prong, or the prong, goes in there, and then while it's sitting in water, it just freezes through, makes it so thick, and then drops the ice cubes. I had no idea that the ice cubes would be this big. They're not very big. It'd be nice if they were much bigger, but I guess that's the reason why you can produce ice cubes in a short amount of time. The second batch of ice cubes was produced at 7 minutes 15 seconds. There is nothing that prevents you from opening this cover while it's in use. There's no sensor or anything that prevents you from doing it, but just keep in mind that when you do open it, what you're doing is introducing the outside temperature, which is more than likely warmer, into the ice maker, which could affect the ice cubes being made. There is only 6 ice cubes produced at one time. So every 6 to 13 minutes, you are getting 6 ice cubes. So take that into account when you're doing your backwards planning. These are not very big, so you're going to have to produce a lot in order to have a good amount of ice. So only because I haven't read it anywhere, I've already said that you can open this cover and it doesn't affect anything. So what I want to do this time is I want to remove this ice tray to see if it actually still drops ice, and if it does drop the ice, does it just drop it into the water, or is there something that prevents it from dropping into the water? I'm guessing that it's just going to scoop it right into the water as if the tray is there. So I'm going to remove the tray and see what happens. I have to admit that I initially filled it all the way up to the max line because I thought it would go through the water very quickly. And so this is now the third batch of ice that's being produced, and it's probably only about an inch down from the max line. Oh, here we go. So the excess water in the tray is draining out. The ice cubes are hanging right now. They're cracking, and now they're falling. The scoop is coming forward, and it dumps them right into the water. That's kind of weird because there are 9 prongs in there, and I only counted 6 ice cubes the first time, 6 the second, but there are 9 prongs in there, so there should be 9 ice cubes being produced. There is nothing that stops the ice from just dropping straight into the water. Here is my opinion so far. If you want ice cubes, this produces ice cubes. If you want small ice cubes, this produces small ice cubes. And what I've shown are the large ice cubes. I need to switch it to small because I can only imagine what the small ones look like. If you have a lot of patience, this is the ice maker for you. If you don't have any patience, you probably don't want to use this because on average so far, this is now my 5th run of ice cubes. I've got an average of 7 minutes to produce ice cubes. In the first run, in the second run, there were only 6 ice cubes, even though there's 9 prongs. So 3 ice cubes weren't being produced the first 2 times. The third time, there were 8 ice cubes. Now it's starting to produce the 9 ice cubes, but for some reason 8 and 9 always seems to be smaller ice cubes. What I figured at this point is I can produce 8 runs of ice cubes an hour if it produces 9 cubes each time, which means I will have 72 cubes an hour. If I run it for 12 hours, I will have 864 cubes. If I run it for 24 hours, I will have 1,728 cubes. I will more than likely have to empty that tray a couple times. I don't know yet, but I need to figure out how many runs it takes to fill this ice tray before it shuts off. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to let it continue to run and see if it shuts off when it is full, and I will need to keep track of how many ice cube dumps it makes. This specific ice maker costs about $85. I am not 100% sure that it is cost effective as far as how much ice it produces and how much electricity it uses. I just did an ice run, and this time when I ran it through, I changed the setting to small, and when it produced the ice cubes, there is no difference in size between the small and the large ice cubes. Typically over on this side, the 8th and 9th prong tend to produce smaller ice cubes anyway, but there really wasn't any difference in size. I just changed it back to large, But so far I'm not really seeing any difference in the size of the ice cube. 9 runs and the basket is full. In actuality, if these ice cubes up here had fallen down further, you could probably get another run of ice cubes in here. So 9 runs will stop the ice maker from producing any more ice cubes. You can see here it says ice is full. If I move these away from here and here, it'll run again. So whatever's between this little clear bubble and this blacked out bubble, if there's anything there, it'll stop it from running. So because I moved those ice cubes, it's actually going to produce another run of ice cubes.